All right, everyone. Welcome back to the DBTalks Football Podcast. This is episode 5, and today we're going to be breaking down game week 4 of the Champions League and how the fixtures on November 4th and 5th resulted, and some major talking points on all the games.
We just came back from the last day, right? This game before, and we saw some pretty interesting, surprising results as well. We saw just now Barcelona trying to Club Brugge in a pretty underwhelming performance, I'd say, from Barcelona. And again, we see with the defense just isn't good enough right now, and Barcelona is making it too easy for the opposition to just break through the defense and to get a very good scoring opportunity. That's exactly what Club Brugge did. They were able to make a very good use of the chances, and they got 3 goals out of it, and they were able to get a point against Barcelona. So, I mean, fair play to them. I think they played well. Their players definitely played well. Forbes was insane today. I think Barcelona could always do so much better.
Yeah, this game ended 3-3. It was basically a big roller coaster. And just again, a really disappointing performance from Barca's perspective. I think this was a game that they should have won themselves. But again, it just shows how weak this defense is, and I'm just tired of it because it just seems like every game it seems like the opposition's it's inevitable for them to score an easy counter attack, and it just seems that as long as they have some sort of runner, it's really easy for them to score on the counter. And we saw Forbes today, Carlos Forbes, the Man City graduate academy. Um, he got 2 goals and an assist. He was man of the match for Club Brugge. I just felt like every time they got the ball, if Forbes made the run, it was so easy to play him through and get past his high line. And again, I have to look at Flick now because this it just feels like I'm waiting for each game. Somehow this defense might get better, but every game it just seems to get almost worse. So there are real big issues for Barca right now. I know there's still a lot of injuries. We're missing Pedri, our almost best player, and yeah, I just feel like it's just not a good game from Barca at all. So yeah, we started the game, and early on, I thought that the first goal for Club Brugge was going to be offside, but it ended up being Koundé that kept their player on. So yeah, again, bad start to the game. Also, the shot that went through, I think Chesney could have maybe saved that. It went like right under his hand, so maybe he could have done a bit better, Chesney. But yeah, we had a really quick response. It was a good ball from Fermin, and it was a great pass to Ferran Torres, who had a pretty good finish. And then since then, I thought, okay, maybe we lost our minds for a bit, but we might recover. But then it just got, as the game progressed, it just got worse in the first half. We saw Forbes, that first goal he had. Um, Again, yeah, he just kind of ran down the line and then another counter. And it was easy for Forbes to just run through and score against our defense and goalkeeper. And again, it's just again too easy for our opposition to score against us. And then after that, basically the half, there was a couple of chances for Barcelona. There was a couple of crossbar chances. I think Koundé hit the crossbar one time, but that was just an unlucky strike. And then again, that right before the half ended, we had that Ferran Torres chance where Lamine Yamal gave a great pass to him, but again, it was just a really bad finish from Ferran Torres. And again, I just feel like if we're moving forward as a team, I don't think Ferran Torres can be our main striker because yes, he's good at making attacking runs and movements in the box, but when it comes to finishing and overall uh, presence and physicality, I just don't feel like he's fit as striker for Barcelona. So another thing for the squad and Flick to look over. But yeah, that was basically the end of the half. Club Brugge were 2-1 up, and it was just a bad half from Barcelona in general.
Yeah, the first half, Barcelona weren't too convincing. I think with Barcelona, you can expect in almost every game that Barcelona will have a lot of possession. And with that possession, Barcelona are going to somehow create chances. And I thought Barcelona did create a good amount of chances, even in the first half. Like we saw Rashford have chances as well. But the thing is, it doesn't matter unless you actually do something with it, like something productive. And I don't think Barcelona were productive today. Barcelona created so many chances and just couldn't really finish it. So that's definitely I think a reason why Barcelona couldn't get this win is that, like it's like something we saw even last season with Barcelona. Like they can create so many chances, but then it's very hard for like the Barcelona just finish the chances, right? So yeah, I think if Barcelona can improve that, then they'll definitely score a lot more goals and they'll get, I think, more comfortable wins, kind of like increasing that margin between the goals between them and the other team. So I think that's definitely something. And then even the defense, yeah, as you mentioned, it's very weak. It's very easy for players to just run through. And like every game you watch, you're scared because like you have this feeling that the other team's gonna make this insane counter play or run that just instantly breaks Barca's defense and they get an easy goal out of it. And we saw that with Bruges, they scored the opening goal. And then even when Barcelona scored the equalizer, it was Bruges that scored like after to like take the lead. So that's like a bit of a pattern that I kind of noticed is that every time Barcelona can score a goal, the other team immediately has a way to kind of gain that momentum back and just get a goal back in return, or at least something like a very scary chance as soon as Barcelona score. After that, the other team get a very scary chance out of that. So I think Barcelona just need to do better there. And I mean, I guess you could say that the injuries are like a reason for the way Barcelona performing, but I still feel like with the quality of players and like just the difference between the quality of clubs, it's very disappointing on Barcelona's end on the way they perform and how they handle these games. I think some of the players had a very poor performance, I'd say. Maybe the back line, the back line had like a few good plays, but I feel like it's still very weak. And it just contributed a lot to how Barcelona just couldn't kept on conceding goals. Like in my prediction, I expected Barcelona to keep a clean sheet. Maybe I thought Barcelona could have dominated, but that didn't happen, obviously. So it's something that has to be worked on by Hansi Flick and the team itself. I mean, the Inigo Martinez transfer, I think we all expected it to have a very big toll on Barcelona because he was Barcelona's best defender, and arguably, I would say he was the best defender in the world last season. So losing a key piece like that, it's kind of hard to adapt to, especially since you look at the player that Barcelona have right now at center back. I mean, we saw that Christensen is he was injured. He had like some muscle or something. He's out though, and then I don't think Araujo, Kubarsi, or Eric Garcia can kind of fulfill Inigo's quality just yet. I think someone like Araujo definitely can in the future. I think he has that potential to be a very good defender for Barcelona. But I think Inigo is just so good that Barcelona needs to somehow fill that piece, and it's gonna take some time to fill that piece. Either like a new signing, like we were discussing about potential signings for Barcelona in that center back position. So we can definitely see something like that happening where if Barcelona can get someone to fill in that place. But I mean, January, there's still like 2 months until January and like the transfer, and we don't even know if Barcelona could transfer for a defender. So the best that can happen right now is just to adapt and learn, and try to improve every game. And yeah,
Yeah, so initially before this UCL game week, I actually predicted Barcelona to win 4-1 because I knew we were going to concede, but I just felt like somehow it would improve, but it seems like this defense won't improve. And I feel like this defense is necessarily like the players aren't the problem. I feel like Flick's system is making them vulnerable because we've seen that like the likes of Balde, I think Balde and Kunde, even though Kunde is in bad form right now, they're both really individually adept at defending their wingers. But it just seems because they're being caught out in the high line, they're getting exposed a lot more. And even guys like Eric Garcia, Kubarsi, Araujo, they're good defenders individually, but when it comes to the system, I feel like they're just not working at all. And yeah, even like during the game, most times I think Flick sets up as like a back three with Kunde almost inverting as like a right center back kind of thing, where Balde goes like almost left wing with Rashford. So I feel like at times we only have maybe even two or three defenders in the back, and then sometimes even like if we're chasing a game, we only have one central defender, and basically we're just hoping that we don't get countered. But we've seen that almost every single goal for Club Brugge was that same situation where we're caught open and there's not enough defenders at the back, and they just play a through ball to their fast wingers, and it seems they can just run in and then score. So yeah, we I think Flick has it's time for Flick to adapt to the situation. I think he has to understand that this highline tactic is not working as well right now, and it's going to be important for Flick to actually take charge and kind of reflect on what's going wrong and try to improve it. But yeah, that was I talked about the first half, so let's move on to the second half. So again, we saw Club Brugge have a couple chances. We saw Firmino with the strike, which had a good save from the other keeper. And then there was also some pressure with Rashford and some other chances. And then I also remember that Eric Garcia shot where he shot from really far at the crossbar. So it was like a bit unlucky for him, but it was a great strike, anyways. And then the 60th minute rolled around, and then that Lamine Yamal goal. Oh my God, he was. I think this whole game, he really turned it up. I think the first half he was slowly developing himself, like getting better. But in that second half, he took complete charge, and he was basically carrying this Barca team to this game. It was all, it reminded me of the Inter game or the Inter fixture last season, where he was just carrying Barca. But yeah, this goal was really, really good. It was one of my favorite goals. So Yamal just picks it up, dribbles in, it almost just goes to Fermin, and then Fermin with a beautiful touch over back to Yamal, and Yamal just dribbles in and kind of slots it into the outer corner. It was a really good goal. And after this, I thought maybe okay, Barcelona they conceded 2 goals. I think they're gonna lock in now. They're gonna hold in defense. But again, we saw right after that, pretty much 2 minutes later, again another counter attack. I mean, even like watching the game, I didn't even see what happened. It just seemed like Forbes was just threw on goal all of a sudden. And again, it was just the high line costing us. And Forbes again just running through our back line, and then a good finish from him, to be fair. But yeah, again, we can see a silly, silly goal right after coming back to 2-2. So then 3-2 to Club Brugge. And then after that, we see a couple of subs like Olmo and Lewandowski coming in. So Flick try to change something. But I feel like Flick today, he went really attacking. Like he played Olmo pretty much at center mid in like Pedri position. And basically Frankie de Jong was our only defensive midfielder, which is not good enough. And then around the 70th minute, it was basically a penalty to Club Brugge. Um, and then I couldn't believe this was given a penalty initially because it seemed like Forbes kicked Balde, so thankfully got overturned by VAR, which was a good decision. Um, and then again, yeah, we saw Yamal and Barcelona still attacking, and in the 77th minute, we saw another effort from Yamal finally go in, and then yeah, so it's basically Yamal just dribbled in. He tried to cross it, but luckily it hit one of the defenders of Club Brugge and went in. So yeah, good goal. I mean, good goal for Barca. We take it, but again, it's still not good enough from our attack and defense. And then since then, I just felt like Barcelona were going for the win and they were going all attack. But thankfully, we didn't concede again. But then again, we also remember that Chesney chance where basically he had some silly mistake and then he gave the ball away. And they scored the winner. I thought that was going to be the winner, but thankfully got overturned because of a foul on Chesney. But again, silly decision. I don't think Chesney should be playing with his like trying to dribble around the box during that situation. I think he's just clear it. But yeah, we're missing key players such as Rafinha, Pedri. I think Joan Garcia would have done maybe a bit better today. But still, yeah, just really not good enough from Barca at all today.
Second half, I thought Barca were playing like a bit better than the first half, like kind of more controlled, but there's still a lot of lingering issues that are kind of obvious. Like the defense was still a very big issue. Like it just wasn't they weren't playing that well. And Barca were kind of losing the ball in the midfield as well a bit, so that's a bit like a concern. So yeah, that's definitely that. But yeah, Lamine Yamal, speaking on him, he was very sharp today. He played very good today. And yeah, he definitely carried like the Barcelona attack. And he was like he kept like getting the ball and trying to do something with it. He did very good with trying to take out the defenders and just trying to create something. He was very like it was a playmaking masterclass on his end, I'd say. And yeah, and he did get the goal with for me a very well worked goal, very good play from Barcelona. And then he did have that own goal across. Yeah, that definitely helped Barcelona try to get some momentum. I thought after that Barcelona would get the win, like they would win the game, but we didn't see that unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. It's just if Barcelona took their chances, this game would be easy to win. It's just that I don't know. I feel like there's a I don't know. It could be like a dip in quality. Last season, Barcelona were able to at least score more of the chances, even though Barcelona were missing like they weren't scoring a lot of their chances last season. They're at least scoring so many goals. But this season it seems like it's very rare for Barcelona to score goals. We don't see too many high scoring games for Barcelona recently, which is kind of bad because Hansi Flick's philosophy relies a lot on just like scoring goals and like putting that pressure. I don't know, I think Barcelona could have done a bit better with the pressing as well. I don't know. I think for the system to work, it requires a lot of intense pressure across all 90, all like the whole game. And someone I want to talk about is someone about Rashford. I thought Rashford was okay this game, but I feel it feels weird that he didn't get a goal or assist. I thought he had a lot of good chances, and I mean he didn't score any. He was kind of got a lot of shots on target, or he missed some shots. But yeah, I thought Rashford could have done more a bit. I think he could have definitely he could have got a goal. I think today, kind of unfortunate. I think for me, he got two assists, but I think for me, there was like this play where he got a bit too greedy. I think for me, he's definitely very good. It's just I think he needs to balance out a bit of his greed more. I think he should like not be too selfish at times, but he should still keep that selfish like trait with him because that definitely can lead to like a goal being scored if he takes it upon himself to just take a shot. Because I think Barcelona need to be more fearless on just taking shots. That's how we saw Koundé and Eric Garcia in the crossbar. They just took a shot, and I mean it kind of sucks that it hit the crossbar both times. But imagine if those went in, Barcelona would have like a lot more momentum throughout the whole game. It would definitely give them more confidence in getting that win. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This game it feels more disappointing, and it feels like a loss more than a draw. I don't know. It hurts to not get the 3 points, especially in this UCL format where on the table, like every team has like they're very tight between the points. Like Barcelona are very close to top eight still, even with the draw. But yeah, every point just matters. So like, I don't know, a draw feels like a loss at the same time. So Barca has to do better, I think.
Yeah, you mentioned that Barcelona weren't good enough today, and you think that if we took more of our chances, we could have won. I just feel like overall the system is not good enough right now. I think our attack at this moment is around like at 65% like full power. Because we're missing the likes of I guess a fully fit Lewandowski and Rafinha, obviously. I think our defense right now, like playing wise, I think they're almost at, I'd say like 30-40% because they're not doing well at all. I think they're being caught lacking a lot of the time during games. And even before this game, I told you about the youngsters on Club Brugge. I told you about Solis, Tresoldi, and Forbes, and they all ended up getting a goal or assist. So again, yeah, just really not good from Barcelona defensive perspective. And then overall, I think in this game, I guess overall from both teams, my top three players would be obviously one, Lamine Yamal. I think he had a great game. I think he was influential, really influential for this Barca comeback. I think my second player would be Frankie De Jong. I think he was really good today. He was basically controlling our tempo, even without Pedri. I think he was our main source of creativity in the midfield. And from Club Brugge, I'd say Carlos Forbes. I think he was really electric today. We just saw. I think he could have scored a hat trick. Honestly, that one chance he hit over the crossbar. I think he was Club Brugge's main threat this whole game, and we just saw that his speed and his dribbling and all that. I think it was big trouble for Barca. Who are your top three players?
For both teams, yeah, I think Lamine Yamal and Forbes are like they have to be in that top three because they contributed the most on the goal sheet, but they're also the most threatening players on both sides. Yeah, Forbes was definitely very scary, and Lamine Yamal, yeah, he had the ball most of the time for Barca, and like he had a great game playmaking wise. So I think those two definitely. Yeah, De Jong definitely. You can definitely say De Jong's up there. I think for me, it's also like you could say it's up there as well. But yeah, I don't know if Barcelona's like it's hard to justify other players to be in that top three or because like I don't know, it felt very I don't know, just not too good of a game. I think for most players, I think it could have been a lot better. And
Yeah,
yeah,
you mentioned
sorry.
Fermin, but I think, yeah, you mentioned Fermin. So I think in the start of the game and around the 16th minute, he was doing really, really well. Those two assists I think he got were really good. But I think the 70th minute onwards, I think he started getting frustrated, and we saw him getting that silly yellow card where he had a bad challenge. So I think he just kind of got frustrated and fell off a bit. But yeah, again, if we mention top three players to consider, like of concern for Barca right now, I think for this game specifically, I would say Rashford. As you mentioned before, I don't think he got involved as much. I think he has been a main outlet for our attack this season, but I just feel like he could have done more himself today. I think again, I just feel like he's being shy. I don't think like he has the confidence fully in him to kind of take control of this match like Lamine Yamal did today. Because I know Rashford, I think a couple of chances when he dribbles in, I think he's still shy to like fully shoot and go for it. I think he has to take more shots. I think he has to get more involved into the game. And I think too often he just passes back and plays it too passive. My second player would be Marc Casado. I honestly love Casado. I think he's a great player for Barca. He's kind of one of those runners in midfield that we have, and he always has good tackles. But today, again, I don't think he gave enough for this Barca midfield and this whole team performance. I think he wasn't getting as involved. I think he was almost just marking his man more than getting taking control of the ball and making tackles and doing all that stuff. I don't think he did. He had a great game today. And then last one, I think I would just go Koundé again because I don't know what to say about Koundé. I mean, last season he was basically our most consistent player overall, including Pedri. I think he was amazing. Just he would every week he would drop at least a 7 or 8 out of 10 performance, no matter what. But this season it just seems like the level has dropped a lot, and I don't know what's been up with him. I don't know like if it's a personal issue, but I think yeah he's just been really disappointing for our backline. I think sometimes when we're playing this high line, he just seems a bit lost. I mean, I don't think like even those chances on the left wing. I don't, when they're running when Club Brugge is running to our right side, um, it just feels like that side is so open. I think Koundé's positioning has not been good enough, and it just leaves so many chances for the opposition to go through. And then yeah, those are my three players to consider.
I mean, yeah, I don't know the top like yeah, I won't consider them top three this game. I just think they're three players I think should definitely do more in terms of just helping the team overall. I think yeah, you mentioned Koundé's dip in form. It's definitely very concerning because we've seen how good Koundé can be and how consistent he has been at that level of like he's very good. So yeah, seeing him not be himself really, like having that dip in form, it's definitely a bit concerning to see. I really hope that Koundé's form just improves. Maybe we don't know if like we don't know the reason for this, right? So I mean, yeah, maybe Flick has to do some experimentation with the back line to try to like improve it. I've seen some suggestions of putting Koundé center back, but I mean, I'm not really sure how it's going to work. You know, it's kind of hard to experiment at this point in the season, where I mean, the season already kicked off for a few months, so it's kind of hard to try to um make new tactics and adapt at this point in the season, especially considering Barcelona do have some tough fixtures coming up. It just wouldn't feel right to experiment like during those games. But it's definitely something that Hansi Flick can just see in training. Like what can work? Like what can this how can this team improve? Like what how can this team take more chances? How can they score those chances more effectively, more efficiently? How can Barcelona not concede as many goals? How can they play? I mean, either adapt the high line and make it easier for Barcelona to catch players offside, or kind of like not rely on the high line too much and play a much better block for that defense to be more like in sync, so that they can defend together and try to knock a few goals. Because it seems that the teams that Barcelona play, their defense like most of the times like very like intact kinda. It's kind of sometimes it's hard for Barcelona to even break through defenses. I mean Barcelona do get goals, but still those teams are I mean if you look at the amount of chances that Barcelona have, right, against those teams, most of the time Barcelona don't score. So those teams are definitely like kind of stable defensively. Hopefully Barcelona can somehow adapt that. Because right now it's like Barcelona every like almost like 70% of chances the 20% of chances against Barca lead to a goal. So that's just not good at all. So that's definitely something that definitely be changed, I think.
Yeah, we talked about the Barca game a lot. I think we can move on. But again, just to conclude, I think it was a disappointing performance from Barcelona. I think going away to Club Brugge, I think I expected at least a win. Maybe it was going to be close. I know Club Brugge are a pretty decent team, but again, just really disappointing from a defensive perspective. Again, our attack was okay today. It was not at its peak performance. But again, yeah, a lot of talking points here and things to discuss between Flick and the players. So we'll move on to the games on November 4th. We'll start off with the big one: Liverpool versus Madrid at Anfield. So yeah, Liverpool win 1-0 at Madrid, and they get their revenge with a tight win at Anfield. And I was watching this game. I think it was a great goal from McAllister, but I think my man of the match was Courtois. I think the amount of times that he saved Madrid, it was crazy. I think he had like 10 saves. I think Liverpool could have easily won this game. I think maybe 5 or maybe even 6-0 if Madrid didn't have Courtois. But I think Liverpool's midfield dominated this game. I think the likes of McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, and I think Wirtz had a great game as well today. One of his better performances in a Liverpool shirt. But yeah, this was Slot's. I think Slot decided to go back to his original midfield from last season, and I guess it's been working for him the last few games. So I think Liverpool are turning a tide into their overall season. So yeah, I think Slot's being smart with this team. I think he's sticking to things he knows from last season, which is why Liverpool are starting to do well. But I think Real Madrid overall, I think they struggle. I think Real Madrid actually started the game on top, but as soon as the Liverpool fans started backing their team, I think the tide switched to Liverpool's perspective. I think Liverpool started dominating the game.
Yeah, I also watched this game, and honestly, I was kind of looking forward to seeing the reaction that Anfield had for Trent when he was like going to get on the field, and we definitely saw what happened. There's a lot of booing and everything. But just looking at this game, I do think Liverpool played better than Madrid. And you mentioned the man of the match being like you think man of the match being Courtois, and I definitely agree. I think Courtois saved Madrid so many times that the scoreline could have been a lot more if Courtois wasn't playing. And with Liverpool, yeah, they definitely have like a lot of quality players. I think Ekatike is very good. I think he played a good game. I think Salah was decent. I think it's okay. I think Salah was solid versus Madrid. I mean, you can always do more. I think he's like such a you know he's such a good player, and we've seen like before like his quality. Especially last season, he had a very good season. So it's kind of weird seeing him not do as well this season. He's not doing like as much, but he's still definitely a threat. I think he was threatening. Um, the ball is very scared at set pieces. I mean that's where the McAllister goal came from, a set piece, a free kick. And yeah, I think that was like very threatening. I think that goal was kind of hard to stop. So yeah, fair play to McAllister and Liverpool. And yeah, I don't know, Madrid, their attack didn't seem too good. I think versus Liverpool. I think Liverpool did very good defensively to just stop the attacks. I think Connor Bradley did very good defensively against Vinny Jr. So yeah, that kind of minimized the kind of like threats that Liverpool would have to face against Madrid because Vinny is definitely a very scary player and he has like a good record against Liverpool where he scored goals against them. So yeah, removing him out of the equation definitely helped Liverpool. And yeah, I don't think Mbappe played too good. He's definitely scary, but I don't think he played too good, especially considering his form that he's in. So yeah, I think he kind of struggled a bit. But yeah, I think Liverpool deserved the win overall. And I mean, it probably hurts Madrid a lot. I mean, hopefully it's bad momentum for them going to La Liga and UCL, so that they can maybe drop points in La Liga, so that Barcelona can like overtake them. And even if they struggle in the UCL, I mean, that'd be great just to see them struggle in the UCL. So we'll definitely see the impact that this loss has and how like if they recover from it or not. And this is good momentum for Liverpool beating a very basically being a top five team in the world right now. They beat a top five team in the world right now, and I mean, yeah, being a team like Madrid is definitely probably feels very good. So that's probably some good momentum for them going into the Prem and yeah, in the UCL games as well.
Yeah, standout players from this match. You mentioned Connor Bradley. I think he fully dominated Vinicius Jr. this game. Connor Bradley, I don't know what happens to him when he plays Real Madrid, but last season he pocketed Mbappe, and this season he absolutely dominated against Vinny. I think every time Vinny tried to go through Connor Bradley, I think Connor Bradley just stayed strong. I think he was just not letting him go through, use his physicality to defend against Vinny. And I think this was almost like what Kunde used to do against Vinny in the Classicos last season. But yeah, Kunde dropped off. But speaking on Brandy, I think he was a really, really good major piece for Liverpool this game. Other players, I think Hoyson did not have a good game yesterday. I think he was pretty disappointing. And also Arda Güler, I don't think he was necessarily good. Same with Kamavinga. I don't think many players for Real Madrid stood out, except for maybe Bellingham was okay. Mbappe was decent, but he could have done a lot better. But yeah, really good performance from Connor Bradley. I think overall Liverpool had a really good team performance. And yeah, it was a good game from Liverpool. I think this releases some pressure from them. I think this could be a big boost for their overall season. And talking points about both teams, I think for now, Liverpool, yeah, as we mentioned, I think this is going to be a good win for Liverpool. I think if they beat City in their upcoming game, I think they're going to be like full of morale. I think they're going to maybe even get into some good form. But on the other side, Madrid, I think this is a really bad look for them because we've seen that a majority of the games that they played. We even mentioned the UCL preview. We mentioned that most of the games that Madrid played, the big games, they've lost. But obviously they won against Barca. But I think it was a fluke win. I think Barca weren't fully fit. But again, yeah, they lost against Atletico Madrid. They lost against PSG in the Club World Cup, and now again they lost to Liverpool with a disappointing performance. So yeah, questions are going to be asked about Xabi Alonso and how he manages this team. I think, I think overall, this was a good game. I think Trent was booed when he came on. So yeah, Connor Bradley showed him levels today. So yeah, good performance from Liverpool.
Sorry to interrupt, but do you want to talk about that Chouameni handball? Because I know that's very controversial,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's just weird. I don't know. It's just like I thought the handball. I don't know, but
Yeah, same.
I
Honestly,
guess
this reminded me of the classical like last season where Chouameni again just handballed and again the referee just doesn't give it to the other team. And again, I just feel like Madrid gets a lot of these calls, as Yamal mentioned. Madrid gets a lot of these calls, and they cry a lot. But I just feel like, yeah, most of these calls, I think there has to be some sort of investigation as to how that's not a penalty. And as we say, where they're known as VAR dread, right? So yeah,
I think if the Liverpool got that pen, it would have been like game over. Like Richard would not come back from the game if it was like 2-0. So I mean, they got kind of lucky there, but they still didn't. They still weren't able to come back from like being down. So I mean, I definitely have like people look at like Xabi Alonso and like maybe put some questions because like I don't know, even their wins aren't that convincing in my opinion. So yeah, it's just we'll see how Madrid do. I guess we'll see what happens.
yeah. So I think the handball was just a bad decision. I think Madrid got lucky because if they even drew or won this game, if Madrid won this game, I think that handball would be like talked about a lot more. But I think because Liverpool won the game at the end, I think it was just kind of ignored and they focused on the actual win for Liverpool. But yeah, let's move on to the other big game yesterday, which was PSG and Bayern Munich, where Bayern Munich again won 2-1. And this was a great performance from Bayern Munich, I feel. I think at the start of the game, we saw a lot of momentum for Bayern. I think it was a really good start from Bayern. They had an early goal from Luis Diaz. I think he's been a great player for Bayern Munich this season. I think him, along with Elise, Gnabry, and Harry Kane, they've been one of the best attacks in the world so far. And yeah, it was a great start from the Bayern Munich. I think they could have done a lot better, but PSG kind of got dominated early. And any other thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really watch much of this game. I watched like most like the later minutes. So I mean, from what I saw, I think like near the end, PSG had more possession. I know that after the red card, Bayern kind of forced to play more defensively because obviously when you're down a man, it's kind of hard to play like very attackingly to get more goals, especially against a team like PSG with high quality and a very good manager. It's kind of risky to do that. So yeah, Bayern kind of forced to play more defensively, and it prevented them from scoring another goal. But yeah, I think Bayern probably played this well. I think Company has kind of proved himself at Bayern so far. I think he's definitely shown that he's a very good manager for this Bayern team. I mean, we can talk about the Luis Diaz tackle on Hakimi because that's definitely like one of the major points coming up from this game. And yeah, I've seen that tackle. It's pretty disgusting. And Hakimi, there's like reports like Hakimi's gonna be out and he has to go to like rehab. It looks like a very bad injury. So, I mean, obviously wish him well. Hopefully he recovers soon. You can't see an injury like that. But yeah, I think Bayern probably deserved the win more than PSG. I think PSG definitely. I mean, they had possession, but they struggled to score from it in the later minutes as well. So I think Bayern played very well defensively to kind of prevent PSG from equalizing or even winning.
Yeah, I think in the first half, I think Bayern completely dominated PSG. I think if even before that red card, I think they could have scored more. I think if they didn't get that red card, I think they would have scored maybe even 4 goals. But because of that red card, unfortunately for Luis Diaz and Hakimi, I think Bayern basically had to go more defensive and kind of just keep possession as much as they could and not go as attacking. And again, also more injuries for PSG. Dembele got injured; he had to be hooked early. Um, Obviously, Hakimi had to go off, and then we saw at the end of the game. I think reports were suggesting that Nuno Mendes might also be out for a couple of weeks. So yeah, the injury situation at PSG is not looking good at all. But I think Bayern had a great game. I think this solidifies them as the best team in the world right now. And after that red card, I think PSG had to dominate more because they had more a player more and they had more like basically they were at their home stadium, so they had to have more possession and stuff. So they did score their goal. It was a great goal from by Neves, but I don't think it was enough to beat this Bayern Munich team, which were just really good today.
Yeah, so talk about a different game then. We can talk about Arsenal. I
Yeah,
think
we can
like
move on
about
to
Arsenal.
the Arsenal game. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
Arsenal win 3-0 at Slavia Prague. And it just almost like it just it's just like every game Arsenal play, it seems like they're gonna win with the clean sheets. And again, it's just a convincing performance from them. We saw Saka get a pen. We saw Marino. I think he's been a great player for Arsenal. I think every time when they need him, he just seems like he can score and score a lot of goals from midfield. So yeah, he's been great for Arsenal. Um, and yeah, again, they keep the clean sheet. Do you think that they're gonna break the clean sheet record in the Prem?
I don't care. I don't. It's like 13, right? Is it 13 the record?
I think it's 13 or 14 somewhere there.
I think it's 13 from Chelsea, right? I don't know. It's like I don't know. I hope not. I don't really like Arsenal, so like I kind of hope not. I don't think they will, but who knows? They're very good right now with the clean sheets, and I don't know. It seems like every team they play, it's hard for them to really break the defense. So I mean, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, they definitely are doing very good with like yeah, not conceding really, and so they're getting good wins, and they definitely look like a very scary team in every competition they're in. So they're definitely a team to like
Yeah,
really like pay close attention to, right?
yeah. Honestly, right now I consider them like the second best team in the world behind Bayern Munich, and obviously both these teams are gonna play against each other, so it's gonna be a really interesting game. But yeah, it just seems like this is Arsenal in cruise control. They can win with a clean sheet, 3 goals away. It just seems like it's normal for them to win like this, and I wish Barcelona had this type of defense or this type of ability to keep a clean sheet, which is so valuable. But moving on, let's go to Tottenham versus Copenhagen, where Tottenham won 4-0. I think this was a great game from Tottenham, even though they got that red card pretty early on. I think they took it well. I think Brennan Johnson scored, Odegaard scored. Brennan Johnson ended up getting a red card, which was silly. But again, I think this was a great performance from Spurs because I thought Copenhagen would be one of the dark horses in the UCL. but they weren't all that good today. But that Van de Ven goal, oh my god, that I believe that's a Puskas competitor, honestly, because it reminded me of that Son goal against, I think, in the Premier League, where he just dribbled from his own box all the way to the other end and scored. So yeah, Van de Ven is one of those players. He's so fast. He's such a good defender, and he always has these runs that he goes on, which I feel are really really good. And then yeah, they scored that fourth goal with Polina. I think yeah, Spurs overall just had a good game.
This contender, but it was definitely a very good goal. You don't only see that those types of goals, right? So and yeah, Vanovin's definitely been impressive. He's been scoring as well as a defender recently. So yeah, I guess that's definitely a very good attribute to have as a defender, and it definitely helped Spurs a lot. And we know Spurs' next fixture is what United, right, on Saturday. So that's definitely a very big clash, and they're both pretty high on the table, I believe, on the Prem. So and they're on the same like point level. So that'll definitely be an important game for both teams to have that momentum in the Prem to make a good run. And yeah, coming off a 4-0 win in the UCL, definitely going to give Spurs more momentum and like a push. And like yeah, we see like Van de Ven has like very good form. So yeah, I think there's actually that. I think Kudos blank though. So I mean, like Kudos can play. Oh, he
Yeah,
didn't even
funny.
play. Oh, he didn't even play, did he? Okay, never mind. Yeah, and then Xavi Simmons got man of the match this game. He got an assist as well. I like Xavi Simmons as a player. I think he's very talented. Though in the Prem, he hasn't been showing too much quality yet. I think he will definitely kind of improve as the season goes on. Like I think he will like do more. So he's definitely a player to watch out in the Prem. So yeah, I rate him high. And yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see the Spurs game versus United. I think that will be probably like the game to watch out for the Prem this week after the Liverpool City game. And yeah, it'll definitely be like it'll be interesting to see how both teams perform.
Yeah, I guess we can move on to our next game, Atletico Madrid versus Union Saint-Gilloise, where Atletico Madrid won 3-1 pretty convincingly. Yeah, this just felt like a pretty good game from Atletico Madrid. I think they could have scored more, but it was pretty good. I think again, Alvarez, their major outlet in attack. I think he's been carrying this team. He scored again, so yeah, great performance from him in Atletico Madrid. And overall, I think they're pretty picking up form, but it's going to be important to sustain this form because in La Liga, it's going to be important to win their games and also in the Champions League to get in a good finish in the group league phase.
Yeah, Atletico is definitely like a potential threat in the Liga for Barcelona and just like win the league title. Like they're always trying that title race. So they're definitely a team to look out for. And I mean, yeah, they got 3 points, though they're not too high on the UCL table, I believe. So I mean, it'll still take a lot of work for them to kind of I guess try to make a good UCL run season. So yeah, I mean, yeah, they had a good game. Alvarez definitely in form. I kind of consider him like one of the best players in the world. A couple like around like a few weeks ago. I mean, he still could be, but I don't know. I think Atleti are a bit of like a on and off team as of recently, so I think they need to be more consistent to really prove themselves.
Yeah, I think yeah. Let's move on to our next game, Juventus versus Sporting, where it ended 1-1. I think yeah, Juventus have not been good enough this season. I think this is a game in Juventus' perspective. They should have won this game. But yeah, Sporting had a pretty good performance. My guy Trincao got an assist, so I'll take that. But yeah, again, with their new manager for Juventus, Spalletti, I think they're getting used to his tactics. So I guess is decent for them, but I think they need to win games like this to do well in the Champions League. So yeah, overall, just a pretty decent performance from both teams, and it ended in a draw.
I think Juve have been very disappointing as of recently. I mean, I don't know. I think Juve have a lot of talent and like good players, good quality players. I mean, last season, I don't know, they had some players that you could have argued were like maybe even like the best in their position, or like at least like top five or top three. And I don't know, and they were kind of getting results last season too. But this season, it's been very disappointing. They haven't been registered to win in the UCL. So, I mean, I don't think they have at least. I think I need to check that again. Yeah, they haven't. Yeah, because they drew versus Dortmund 4-4 in Lee, right? So, yeah, they haven't registered to win yet, which is a very bad look, especially for a team like Juve who have like, they're like like they're known as like like the European giant, especially in the UCL. Like they're kind of established. So yeah, they're not doing that good right now. And even in Serie A, I mean, it doesn't look like they'll be close to winning the league title, even though the gap between the points are very small. Like it's 4 points between them and Napoli, who's at first right now. But I think teams like Napoli and Inter are a lot more consistent than Juve. So I think in the league, I think we'll see like the league title be between Napoli and Inter rather than Juve. I think Juve will like continue to draw points. I remember last season Juve had like so many draws, so it was very hard for them to really catch up to like the league title, right? So yeah, I think Juve has been disappointing. I still do rate Yildiz very highly. Hopefully, he can like leave and go to like, a certain team. But yeah, I think Juve can definitely improve.
Okay. Yeah, let's quickly move on to our quick mentions for the games yesterday on November 4th. Napoli 0, Frankfurt 0. I think this was a boring game. I think both teams lacked their finishing quality. I was hoping McTominay could score, but yeah, nothing ended up happening in this game. Nothing too much. So I think it's pretty good for these both teams to I guess get a draw, at least 1 point. But I think yeah, I don't see either team doing too well in the Champions League overall.
Yeah, I didn't watch this game, but I do know Napoli have like I think Napoli are more have more quality than Frankfurt because Frankfurt came off a pretty bad loss versus Liverpool last week. I'm pretty sure, or it was one like
Yeah.
yeah versus Liverpool, right? Yeah, that's fine. So I mean, I thought Napoli would have gotten the 3 points and won, considering that Napoli are just like pretty good team. I think like they're definitely improving and like with Conte, they've looked like a pretty dangerous team. And yeah, but you mentioned McTominay. I thought McTominay probably could have done something, but I guess not. But they're still a team to look out for. I think maybe in the Serie A though. I don't think they'll do too much in the UCL, but I think the Serie A is like probably like what they'll be more success in. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's move on to our next game. Bodo Glimt 0, Monaco 1. I think this was a good win for Monaco. I think they've been doing decent in the Champions League so far. But yeah, as we mentioned in the match UCL preview, Ansu Fati was injured, so he did not play this game. But yeah, I think overall this is a good win for Monaco. I think they should just keep up their form. They could maybe get into the top 24. Maybe even if they do really, really well, they could get into the top eight, but I doubt it. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, Monaco are kind of like I mean, kind of a bit dark horse. I mean, they're definitely very like interesting. I think like I don't know, they have some good like performances, and they have some talented players as well. So I say keep an eye out on them. I think they can do something in especially League One. I think they can do something. The UCL, I mean, I think they're just there. Maybe they'll do something, but I wouldn't expect too much out of them. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can move on to our last game for for yesterday, which was Olympiacos 1, PSV 1. Honestly, I expected PSV to win this game. I thought after they hammered Napoli, I thought they would have a much better performance. But yeah, overall, just not good enough from them. I think if they wanted to do well in the Champions League, they should have won this game against Olympiacos. But overall, yeah, I just feel like this was an even contest, and luckily PSV got a late goal to draw this game.
Yeah, I didn't watch this either, but yeah, I thought PSV would have won this as well because just considering last UCL result, you thought PSV win 6-2 against a pretty good Napoli team. And then you saw Olympiacos lose 6-1 to Barcelona. So there's you seeing that you can see that PSV kind of have a bit more quality, but I guess that didn't that wasn't the case this game. It was an even draw. So I mean we'll see what both teams have in store for the rest of the UCL. Maybe PSV can do something, I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay, let's move on to our games from today, November 5th. So one of the biggest games today was supposed to be Man City versus Borussia Dortmund. And obviously, the main topic of this game was Erling Haaland going back to his old club, Dortmund. And obviously, he did score in this game. So yeah, good moment for him, I guess. But I think man of the match for this game was Phil Foden. I think he's slowly resurging back to his old form a couple seasons ago, where he won Player of the Season. I think Phil Foden's been catching up form. I think he's gonna get better and better. I think Reinders had a great game. He got two assists, and obviously my guy Doku, he got an assist, so really good for him. I think he's been really good for City this season. But yeah, overall a convincing win for City. I think they've been really. I think City's been really good this season. I think they've also been picking up form at the right time. So hopefully this form continues for them, and they can challenge Arsenal for the league title. But on Dortmund's side, I think this was not as convincing. I think they had a pretty bad game. Um, but yeah, overall, any other thoughts?
Yeah, I think the main players to talk about they take away from this game are Haaland, Foden, and Reinders. Yeah, Haaland's definitely been very consistent with goal scoring. Definitely one of the best players in the world right now. Just scores goals for fun. He's a robot. So yeah, he's definitely very threatening. And yeah, I think with this game, I mean, City are kind of like good goal scoring form. So I think I kind of expected City to take this game. And yeah, I think City is like kind of slowly improving, especially coming off that kind of bad season last season where they were kind of dropping points and just didn't seem like themselves. They're definitely trying to pick it back up. Foden's definitely up form as well. And then yeah, Reiner's getting two assists definitely helps City as well. So yeah, I guess fair play to City for winning that game.
Yeah, let's move on to Inter versus Kayat Almaty. I think Inter had a okay game today. I think I would have expected them to win by more. Obviously, Lautaro Martinez scored, and yeah, I think overall Inter had a pretty good game. I think so far they've been decent this season. I think they need to step up a gear more if they want to do really well in the Champions League and to win Serie A. So I think yeah, it was a decent performance from Inter today.
Yeah, I think you expect Inter to score more, especially with the quality they have in attack, but that didn't really happen. It was actually kind of a very close game, 2-1. So yeah, I think Inter probably could be better, but they are undefeated right now. They're one of the few undefeated teams in UCL right now. Like they have like all wins. So yeah, I guess yeah, Inter is definitely like trying to look like one of the contenders for the UCL maybe. And yeah, I mean we'll see how this helps them. Like this momentum helps them in Serie A as well, as I'm sure they want to win that as well. So.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Newcastle 2, Athletic Club 0. I think this was another. I think Newcastle is one of those teams where you expect a clean sheet almost every game. I think they're one of those defensive teams where they keep a lot of clean sheets, and today again was pretty a pretty convincing win from them. I think their attack could do a bit better. I think I expected a bit more from Voltamade, but he didn't deliver. I think Gordon came off early in the game, which was not a good look for Newcastle. I think he's been one of their major players in the Champions League and Premier League. So yeah, Anthony Gordon out for a bit. I think also Dan Burn came off. He scored a goal. So yeah, some injuries for Newcastle. But yeah, overall a great performance from Newcastle. And then on Bilbao's side, I think they're also missing key players. Like I think Iñaki Williams is missing, Nico Williams is missing. So yeah, not good enough from Atletico Bilbao. But overall, yeah, just a good game overall for Newcastle.
Yeah, I think Bilbao's form has been pretty inconsistent. They're just not that convincing, I think. And yeah, I think Newcastle are a bit more strong compared to Athletic Club. So yeah, I think I at home as well as being James Park. Yeah, I'm not surprised that Newcastle won the game. I thought it would be much closer though. I thought Bilbao would put up more of a fight, but I guess not. I mean, yeah. So I mean, Newcastle are also doing decent in UCL. Like they're pretty decent on the table. They are they're sixth right now, so they're in the top eight right now. So I'm sure they want to continue that just to guarantee themselves in the knockouts and maybe make some runs. So they're definitely an interesting team to look out for. They have some good players.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Galatasaray 3 and Ajax 0. I think this was I really like this game because Osimhen, as I mentioned, he was in my fantasy team and he ended up scoring a hat trick. So really good from Osimhen. I think he's one of those strikers that honestly Barcelona should look into, to be honest, because ever since he left Europe, he's just been consistently good. I think I think we should take a chance on him, and also many other European teams could take a chance on him. I think he's just been consistently good. Um, and yeah, overall, a great one for Galatasaray. As we mentioned in the preview, Ajax have been really poor, so this was pretty expected. I think Galatasaray were destined to win, so yeah, really good for them. And right now they're ninth in table, so they're doing really, really well. So hopefully they might also make top eight. So keep that in mind.
Just so you know, Austin got 2 pens. It's not like he scored some insane hat trick. It was
Goals
two
a
pens.
goal. Lewandowski missed a
I mean,
pen. Goals a goal.
I only can say that I can't. I didn't watch the game, so I can't really judge how Austin really played. Or I saw that he got two of his goals were pens. But I mean, talk about him with Barca. I mean, it could definitely be interesting. I do know that with Osimhen, like just based off like his history, people he wants like pretty expensive wages. So that's like something to consider because Barcelona, I mean, it would be better for Barcelona to sign someone who doesn't want too high wages or would demand higher wages. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's better options at striker than Osimhen. Because again, if you're talking about his goals, I mean, he scored a lot of pens, so and Barcelona don't get too many pens, I think. And even with the pens, I mean, we're looking right now that Barcelona want Lamine Yamal to be the main pen taker. So if Osimhen comes, it'd be like who gets the pens, and with Osimhen, I feel like he would expect himself to take the pens. But then I don't know if that would cause issue between him and Lamine Yamal on like who's taking the pen. So you don't want those issues, right, between players and like stuff like that. Like we've seen with Chelsea that one time where Jackson fought with Palmer to take a pen. Madueke also want to take a pen. So like that's a bad look overall. But he's definitely a top quality player. Ajax, I'm not sure what happened to Ajax because Ajax are another team that are kind of well established in Europe. Like if people would say they're the best team in the Netherlands, but they've only gotten losses in the UCL. So I mean, it's very unlikely for them to really do anything in the UCL. I think. I mean, really no, but I mean, if they want to, they have to get 4 straight wins, I guess. But pretty bad from them, I think.
Yeah, you mentioned the penalty thing. I think if Barcelona are a serious team, I think we go for a big striker soon, very soon. Either it be Kane, Holland, maybe that's dreaming, but a guy like Osimhen. So yeah, I think it's inevitable that there's gonna be a penalty. There's gonna be a decision to be made that who's gonna be our penalty taker once we sign a big striker. So I think it's gonna be inevitable. But yeah, Osimhen is a person to consider for the striker position. But yeah, overall, let's move on to Leverkusen versus Benfica, where Leverkusen got a 1-0 win. I actually predicted Benfica to win because of Jose Mourinho, but unfortunately, he did not win. So yeah, I think overall Leverkusen have been decent this Champions League. I think their loss to PSG was really bad, but apart from that, they've been pretty good. I think Grimaldo is basically their best player right now, along with Alex Garcia. I think they've both been really good for Leverkusen. And for Benfica, I think Richard Rios is pretty good. Luki Bacchio has been good for them since he went there. But yeah, overall, a good win for Leverkusen, and this pushes them up to 21st. So I think if they win a couple more games, they can push up the table.
I'm pretty disappointed in this UCL campaign. I mean, I feel like you expect more. I mean, even last season, like Benfica they had like a solid run, I think, over last season. So I think you expect Benfica to be somewhat of like a challenger this season. And they're also kind of established as like a good team in the UCL. I mean, they're probably one of the best Portugal teams alongside like Porto and Sporting. So yeah, it's kind of disappointing to see them at this form. And then you also see you talk about Marino being the coach. I mean, Marino used to be a name that scared a lot of people, um, like back in the day. But now I don't think Marino's like really himself. I don't think he's like that top quality of a manager right now. Especially just compared to like all the managers in Europe right now. I don't think he's on that level to people like Flick, uh, Luis Enrique, Pep, even like Arteta. Like I don't think he's close right now. So I don't know. I think I wouldn't raise my hopes too high in Benfica. But yeah, and Leverkusen on the other side though, I mean, definitely a good win for Leverkusen, but yeah, I don't think they'll do too much in the champ. I don't think they'll have like too much success in the Champions League this season.
Yeah, and just some news coming in. We've hit a 10,000 likes on our Pedri edit. So yeah, if you haven't already, tune into our Instagram and like up that Pedri reel. But let's move on to our other game, Marseille versus Atalanta, where Atalanta won 1-0. I think this was pretty surprising. I expected Marseille to win because they seem to be in good form. I think overall this was a good performance from Atalanta. They had a goal ruled out early for offside by Lookman, but overall they had a late winner for Atalanta to win it, and also the Catalair missed a penalty. So yeah, I think Atalanta were just much better than Marseille today, and overall it's a good game for Atalanta. I think they won't do too well in the Champions League, but yeah, it's a good win for them, I guess.
I thought Marseille would win this game. I thought Aubameyang would score, but I guess not. I'm not sure if he even played. Like, I didn't tune into this game. Oh, you did play, but yeah, I wasn't tuned into the game. They also have Greenwood, who, I mean, he's been in good form, especially in League One. Greenwood's been in good form, but yeah, I guess today they didn't do that well. I don't know. I feel like both these teams are not major contenders in the UCL. I think they're potential dark horses, like especially Atalanta, like a couple seasons back, or like even last season. I mean, they were like a dark horse, but yeah, I guess this season not really. So yeah, I wouldn't set too high expectations for either team in the UCL. So I mean, I mean, hmm, Atlanta are top, they're 16th right now, so they'll probably make the qualifiers. But I mean, I remember last season in the qualifiers, I expected them to beat Club Brugge in the qualifiers, but they didn't. They actually lost to Club Brugge, which I was very surprised. But yeah, I don't know. I don't say too much about Atlanta, especially after that. I don't want to say too much. I feel like they've gone worse though. Yeah, I don't know. I do think Marseille. Hopefully, they pick up their League One form. Just because I don't want to see PSG win the League One. I want it to be more interesting, have a different winner. So hopefully, Marseille can pick it up back in League One.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty good game overall. I think both sides were pretty tactically together. And then let's move on to our other game, Pafos versus Villarreal. And honestly, right now, it just doesn't give a good look for La Liga in general. I think most La Liga teams struggled this week, except for Atletico Madrid. But yeah, I don't know how Villarreal lost to Pafos. I think, honestly, in La Liga, I thought they were one of the best teams right now. But yeah, really disappointing from them. And really surprising from Pafos, honestly. Right now, Villarreal in the table, they are where are they? Oh my God, they're 32nd. So really, really not good from them at all in the UCL. They've had three losses and one draw. So yeah, horrible from them. And right now, Paphos is actually 20th. So honestly, they could do well in the Champions League this season. But yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I expected Villarreal to win this game. Only kind of based off the like La Liga form. I think they're very good in they're very good in La Liga. So I thought they would somewhat translate that in the UCL, but I guess not. So yeah, I mean, pretty disappointed by Villarreal. And Villarreal usually like pretty decent in the Champions League, just based off history. So yeah, it's pretty bad on them, I guess. Yeah, you mentioned they're 32nd and 1 point only. So I mean, they can still probably make qualifiers, but I don't see them making too many big waves in this UCL. I think there's a more consistent teams, much better teams left in the in the competition. So yeah, I feel like those teams will have a better chance at doing having a better run than Villarreal.
Okay. And then, yeah, I think Villarreal overall, they just had a really bad performance today. And again, yeah, just it's not going to be a good look for La Liga overall. But moving on to our last game to be discussed for this game week,
Oh my god.
Chelsea 2, Karabakh 2. And we have a special guest, actually, one of our friends who's a Chelsea fan. He's going to be joining us. So, yeah, let me just invite him.
Yeah, what a team Chelsea, right?
All right. So, this is our friend Haitham. He's a Chelsea fan. And yeah, we're just going to discuss how this game went on today. Chelsea 2, Karabakh 2.
Hello, hello, hello. Can I be heard?
Yeah. So, yeah,
Yeah, you
what
can
are
hear
your
you.
initial thoughts about this game, Haitham?
Yeah, so mixed feelings about it. There were definitely some players and some big questioning on the manager as well. For starters, yeah, we definitely got to talk about that back line. What did you guys think about it so far?
I
I
thought you
didn't
guys
watch
actually
it.
rotated the squad. So, I mean, rotated your team. So, the likes of Tyreek George starting, Lavia starting, Andre Santos, and then Hato also starting. So I think you guys did rotate a bit. But yeah, I think even with your depth, I thought you should have done well in this game. But yeah, just disappointing overall.
No, no, I mean 100%. Like analytically, we started off with like, okay, well, like from the manager, his perspective, we started off with amazing fullbacks, which I quite highly rate Reece James and Correa. I genuinely think they're one of the greatest fullbacks to currently play right now. But over onto the center backs, we started off with the likes of Raul Hato and Sin. Honestly, was already a big questioning for Enzo Maresca because throughout the season they have been quite mediocre. They were the both not I wouldn't say Hato, but primarily Tosin. Him and Chalaba have been very mistake prone, and I guess even going throughout the season, we've seen with disciplinary issues, racking up quite a lot of cards. But yeah, seeing Hato specifically this game, there was first like a glimmer of hope, a fresh set of legs at center back, and maybe someone with more of an experience, such as Tosin, to help guide him. Immediately almost conceded a pen, and then again made a huge error. Right after that, conceded a pen with a handball. So it was obviously a very disaster class. Tosin didn't help with the fact. And yeah, it was just overall an abysmal game. Fans Lavia getting injured in the beginning. So we couldn't really help with the tempo control. So yeah, we did see times where the ball was very heavily getting like quickly tossed out or was like quickly cleared instead of like properly controlling the game. Even statistically, like, oh my god, our keeper, he only had to make like one major save. But majority of the times they've driven through on their right side, came crashing through Kukurea, which they overloaded a lot this game. And they completed a lot of very important passes, which did lead to like sometimes our defense getting caught on a counter. Overall, yeah, to sum up the defense, it was very, very shaky. Honestly, Chelsea really do need a center back to come into the game, like to help them. And moving on towards the midfield, I personally thought Santos was a delight to watch today. I don't know what you guys thought of that midfield.
I mean, I didn't really watch this game, but yeah, I think overall going over to Karabakh Stadium in Azerbaijan, I think it's going to be a hard situation, anyways. And because you guys rotated your lineup very much, because I think it affected your game. But I think this is a bad look for Chelsea because these sorts of games, they're important to win. Every point in this league phase pretty much matters to be in the top eight and even goal difference. So yeah, conceding two and drawing this game to Karabakh, I don't think it's a pretty good look for Chelsea. But yeah, moving on to your striker situation. You guys signed João Pedro, and right now I just feel like he's not that number nine for you, and it feels like this Chelsea number nine curse seems to go on forever. And every time you guys sign a striker, I mean, João Pedro at the start of the season, I think he was really good. He started off really bright, but slowly he's been moving like deeper. He's trying to go play cam or behind the striker. He's not like a striker himself. So yeah, it's gonna be an issue for Chelsea. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. As we've seen from Joao Pedro, we've seen a lot of people primarily call him. He's great at the build up, making those like grass cutting passes towards people overlapping him. But we've seen like especially during the Club World Cup games where needed someone that was physically brute up front to like more so charge up the defense, like to make them focus on that player, which was originally Liam Delap. Again, his injury kind of derailed the whole situation, especially with him racking up that red. More so put a distrust in Maresca, primarily with our whole disciplinary issues, racking up five red cards in 6 games, which is truly an insane amount. But yeah, from what we've seen, again, Joao Pedro wasn't that bad this game, I would say. Did make some questionable choices where there were times where he could have shot. Again, I don't think he registered a single shot on target first half, which is insane to think about as someone who's playing like sort of that false nine role. I know he's playing as a cam because Enzo wasn't playing in the beginning, which is fair to him. It's like it's not really his primary position, but even at that role, you're supposed to like find those passes, even make runs and take some shots instead of focusing on a pass first. Even as you listed as a number 9, you need to have that mentality to shoot first, get it on target. And if we move to the left wing, which was Gittins, he had that thought. Although he is a winger, he definitely was trying to first beat his man in a duel and then take shots, which honestly, this game wasn't his brightest. There were games where he was on fire, especially that game in the Carabao Cup. He was like unplayable. He was amazing, winning all those duels, taking amazing risky shots that did pay off, especially that volley. We were kind of hoping to see him in form in this game, although he was primarily locked up by what was his name? And yeah, it was Silva, their right back. He primarily had him in his pockets, to say the least. Like I don't think he registered like a single per successful dribble, like any big play or like any big chances created. He was primarily left casted on the side. We saw immediately as soon as Garnacho came on second half, the instant impact he had, creating that beautiful opening, took that amazing shot, which honestly goes to Garnacho. Without him making that play in second half, I really did think this team would have had wouldn't have had the chance to stay in it because Esteban was doing amazing too. I got to give credit to him, especially that creating that chance in the beginning and then beating his man, and then Santos honestly finding that open run he made in the end to make that beautiful pass and shoot was an amazing play. Fair play to him. Honestly, people really need to start watching his games because he is an amazing wonder kid. Dare I say, top 3 in the game right now. But again, we did mention Joao Pedro. We also mentioned Tyreek George. Now, Tyreek George, it's a mixed feeling, honestly. Again, I wouldn't say it's his main position. He mainly works best like on the wing and like cutting inside. So him playing as like that striker, how we usually play with like the likes of Liam Delap, like sometimes even Jackson too. It was a very interesting thing to say the least. Again, there were bright spots. As soon as Delap came in when Tyreek George came out, we instantly saw the impact he had physically, as well as even Enzo Fernandez when he had to play that role when he was moving up instead of playing that deep line role he usually does. As soon as he came up, we're seeing him make those progressive dribbles. We saw Karakbak get caught on the counter quite a few. Unfortunately, we didn't take the chances we should have because of the defense being super, super shaky. We conceded some easy things where we shouldn't have. And even when we look at it statistically, I believe we had how many corners was it that we had? I don't remember. We had I think it might have just been like it was like 8 corners we had. We had some amazing chances within our corners. We didn't finish it well as set pieces. We had like 9 free kicks, which is insane. They weren't like in like really, really close free kicks. But we should still take our chances with the set pieces. That's what I feel like Chelsea didn't do the best. Primarily rushed them down the left side, which is I also found very interesting because again, Gittins on the first half he was playing abysmal. Thought maybe by 30th minute they would honestly switch side and try to play more on the right because as soon as they did that with Esteval, he immediately found pocket. Santos found him, and it was a worldy goal right there. But yeah, we also got to focus on again throwing it back to the discipline talking about on the defenders. Yeah, we just have to question Santos. I mean, sorry, here again. I know his main role, especially which he played at Ajax, considered a wonder kid. He mainly plays left back, and he's an amazing complete left back, might I say. He does everything Cucurella supposedly he does everything he's supposed to as a sub for Cucurella. But the only difference is center back. Can play center back, I would say honestly, I would list it as him. He isn't as like I wouldn't say smart off the ball, but like he doesn't have that instinct where when it comes to positioning. We definitely saw times where Tosin tried telling him, "Hey, jockey, jockey, jockey." But again, there were times where he was expecting a cross and he just stayed in like that position, like he was just waiting for the cross. Honestly, in towards his man and trying to put a foot in. Again, same thing for Samson there, hypocritical, or it's taking the blame just on Hato and not complaining about the other. Now there is one issue I do have when it came to our right side, primarily the playmaking. So Reece James, again, kudos to Maresca for this, keeping one of our, dare I say, our best player physically active towards the game. He didn't have that insane impact he does, where it be those crossing and the passing. I don't think he registered a single cross on target. I know the statistic sounds crazy, but he had 0 accurate crosses and long balls, which is, in my opinion, it feels like a very off game for Reece James. Defensively, he was very solid. He blocked a shot, which I personally think would have went straight in had he not blocked it. He was great in the back, again, with the build-ups with short passes, but Chelsea didn't take their chances with their long crosses, and that's where I felt like, again, that's where it basically sort of spiraled out, where we were more focused on like the passive role, not making those cut-ins. I'm sorry, going out wide and making those long balls, maybe even and wingers both to like do those runs. But yeah, that's what we definitely thought. That's what I personally saw from the game. Defensively, again, we were just outbested. Chelsea do need to sign a center back. Oscar himself has even said to the higher ups, he does need a center back. We're looking at the likes of Stoney. I don't know if this is like a fully confirmed take, but Sky Sports also has even said that Bus is in. I wouldn't say that's credible, but there have been talks towards Inter's camp, especially our goalkeeper. Well, before Club World Cup, he had reached out to Milan. Milan, they were in discussions with Big Mike, which is Mike Mignon, the keeper for the team, and AC Milan's number one choice keeper. Leaving on a free this January from AC Milan, Chelsea were in talks. They didn't want to pay that 30 million price tag for him, which is honestly crazy because compared to Sanchez and Philip Jorgensen, the gap between them is like ludicrous. I think Jorgensen can start for any big games against any of, I would say, the top teams. Sanchez, again, very mistake prone when it comes to his distributions. We saw this game. He was, oh my God, he was leading to a lot of like inaccurate passes. His shot ability is one of the best. That's honestly his main attribute. When it comes to distribution, it's honestly a 50-50 toss-up. Either it lands perfectly at the feet of the player or it just goes straight to the opposition. It's like ping pong. So when we look at Mike Mignon and how he's contacted Chelsea and seen how he's very interested in the whole plan by our director Todd Bowley, it's very interesting to see why we didn't pay for that price tag. And again, seeing he's honored free coming this January, it'd be very beneficial to have someone, rivals Sanchez in that number one keeper role. Again, if a player is very, very confident and they're just starting, but still making a lot of mistakes, it should be known that there needs to be a player in that position that can either one, help them out, or two, have them for that position. And even just going off keeper a bit, we can talk about our center backs, how, again, Cole and his ACL, how it's like completely derailed our season. We needed a ball playing center back that was extremely well in defense. And that's what Cole was to us. We never really had much complaints, especially during Club World Cup and our Conference League season. Like, we had an amazing center back. He was our bright side for us. We never really had much complaint about defense. But seeing his season get derailed, and obviously us having a long history with injury problems, such as Fana, Lavia, and even Reece James, again, three like players who are notorious for being injured. To be fair, Oscar has managed two of their injuries very well, thus being Fofana and Reece James. We can't rely on them to start week in, week out the same way we did for Levi Colwill. So there obviously needs to be a rotation, and this is where Josh Aspinall plays. He's a Cobham Academy graduate, and he started a lot of big games. Played against Liverpool, if I'm not mistaken, and he was amazing. He played against Sunderland too, which honestly, I get that they lost, but they were still bright side, especially with all the games he's played. He's been an amazing player just to watch week in, week out when he does play. Again, people did say it was Karabakh. It's a guaranteed 3 points. I'm trying to make any excuses, but a long flight, racking up a lot of mile points, especially in an environment that we're not quite used 2. Seeing our youth team even win 5-0, which is very concerning how our main team, we played a very passive game. And even in the first half, we were like completely outclassed. We had fouls than we had, honestly, big chances. Not even big chances. We had more fouls than actual chances created. 0 big chances. We had 6 shots, which I believe only one of them was honestly on target for the first, which was Esteval's goal. And in the second half, we took a lot more shots. We took 10 shots, and we made a lot of progressive passes, but still had 0 big chances created. Like throughout the entire game, we didn't make a single big chance that would guarantee to a big goal. And that's where I do say Chelsea did lack in that regard. Other than that, I do say for rotation players such as now being reduced to a rotation player, players like Santos getting their minutes, and even the likes of getting more trust, and Tyreek George, Maresca starting now. It does make sense. This is the type of game to start them. At one point, you do have to say, we can't let them play the full 90 minutes if we're down basically by a good lead and a half. And we do need to start our starters. So Lavia again being injured in the beginning and Caicedo coming on, that was a bright side for Chelsea. Having one of the big three, which being Palmer, Caicedo, and Enzo, having one of them start always be a must for this team. Again, there are minute concerns with Caicedo not getting his minutes. Start getting too many minutes and being overworked. Other than that, what I mainly had to say about the game.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for your insightful opinions about Chelsea and this overall game. But yeah, I agree. I think if Chelsea want to do really well in the Champions League and their Premier League, I think they have to fix out their issues and just kind of deal with their lineups and their overall injuries. I know many teams right now have injuries, so it's going to be important for Chelsea themselves to also deal with their injuries and their overall squad. But yeah, any other thoughts or questions for our Chelsea representative co-host,
But
for Josh?
I like your input. Yeah, I like your input. I do agree that when you're talking about the signings, right, and like how they like. I mean, I feel like some of the Chelsea signings have been pretty underwhelming or just disappointing, and it kind of doesn't feel right for Chelsea to just keep on buying players and kind of like I don't know. I feel like it's kind of more like experimenting rather than trying to build a stable squad because like I look at like something like Delap. I don't see Delap being like a key player in the next few seasons for Chelsea or like in the near future. I think Chelsea need to make more, probably stronger signings in like every position because I think Chelsea struggle in like most positions. And you even mentioned with the keeper, like Maignan would have been definitely a very good sign for Chelsea. He's a very high quality keeper. I think better than Sanchez and Jorgensen, so that would definitely help Chelsea out. And yeah, I mean Chelsea spends so much, so like again, I just think they make like better quality signings in my opinion. And there's definitely like a market for a lot of good players. Yeah, I mean I do respect the Esteval signing. I think Esteval, I mean, we're seeing like during the Club World Cup, like we're kind of discussing like when he was at Palmeiras, like what could he do with Chelsea? And he's been kind of key it seems. Like he scored that win versus Liverpool, and he scored today as well, right? So I think he's promising for Chelsea. He could definitely be an important player for Chelsea in the future. So he's definitely exciting to see. I'm not sure about him being a top three youngster right now. I think he needs more time and like we need to see more of him to really like establish that. But no, he's definitely talented. I'll agree with that.
No, yeah, I definitely see your point with Esteval. Again, he was honestly one of the first recruited players. Like, okay, from last season, I'm pretty sure he was bought in the 23-24 season. Around the summer is when he was bought. They gave him one more year in Paul just to like more so monitor and see how he would do in big competitions such as Club World Cup and in the Brazilian League, which was amazing league to watch. In Esteval was a very exciting youngster there. He created almost all the chances. Was pretty sure the top goal scorer for them. And in Club World Cup against his debut against Chelsea, honestly, he scored an amazing worldie. Like it was one of the hardest angles to from. Pretty sure his XG was like extremely low, it was below like 20 there. And he created that amazing play. So yeah, when it comes to I do agree. It may be a little too early to really talk about him. we've seen he's developed really well. He's honestly become Chelsea's top goal scorer this season. He has 2 goals in the last 4 games, which is an amazing thing to think about. But back to what you were saying about Liam Delap, I honestly disagree a little bit there. He may not be Chelsea's number 1, number 9 in the upcoming seasons, but within Chelsea's whole like ideology since the Todd Bowley takeover, it's primarily to sign younger players, mainly those under the age of 25. And I do see what people do say. There are definitely a lot of youngsters that Chelsea do sign would get loaned off to Strasbourg or would be sold for than they were bought for, which to be fair, Chelsea does have that business model and they've always been great at selling players. When we look at our net spend and the profit we create from it, we rarely ever take a tank with how much we spend. So that's why I see people, they're quick to question the signing, whether it's necessary or not. It's not really much about the finance. So like, can they play for not? Can they play for us? If not, it's more so a sellout. So yeah, I do see what you mean. There are definitely some players that are unnecessary buys, and there are some players that are more so are just there for rotation to challenge, that said bench warmer. But for when we look at Liam Delap, even last season in the Prem, he was with relegation side Switch. And when we check about his statistics and how much he scored, I believe last season for Ipswich, he scored 12 goals and he got 2 assists, 37 games for Ipswich in the Prem, which is an insane amount to think of. When it comes to Ipswich, had like they weren't really a good side. There were definitely games where they looked like they had promises, especially during the wintertime run they had, Chelsea and certain other teams. Amazing team to watch in the beginning. But then they more so had that little spiral when players like Omari Hutchinson, like they didn't really create those chances they were supposed to. But when it came to Delap, he was always their bright side. He was always their star. He always found pockets of space, always took the brute forces. He's physically a monster when we watch him play. He holds up the defense. He's always the one to, hold the ball when needed. Or if there's ever a time to tempo, can do that with holding the ball or just more so freeing up space for our cam or wingers. When I look at Delap, I do think he can be a solid starting 9 for us, and he definitely can be developed into a great striker. Again, he's only 22 years old. He never really had like big opportunities in big moments. Such as I don't think he's ever played like in Europe previous to Chelsea. Yeah, he's only played in more so like younger. I wouldn't say younger. But he's more so played in like championship sides such as Hull City, Preston North End, Stoke City. Although he's never really played against big teams, we do see the quality there is compared to like last season, Liam Delap. And again, because of his injury, him being derailed for a few months, and he's slowly recuperating back to that form he had, especially during Club World Cup. That debut goal against the Tanzanian side, again, people will downplay it because the Tanzanian side, to which I say fair. Even when we look when he got subbed on for PSG, it's a delight to watch. He had a few chances, which again, there were sitters he missed after. But to be fair, he did create those chances himself. He went one-on-one with their center back, Thumb. Yeah, one-on-one with Donnarumma. He almost beat him. Like, I think he was, actually, no, he did Donnarumma. He was a meter away from, but he just missed that chance. Again, fair play to Liam Delap, though. He is an amazing striker, to which I do have to disagree there a bit.
Appreciate that input. I appreciate it, but yeah, I can definitely see your point with the lap. I do think he's a good player. I mean, I saw him with Ipswich the season before. I think he had a good season with Ipswich. He was very scary as a striker. I don't know, just with me, I feel like Chelsea could do better in that position, and I think eventually he will be replaced and like potentially like sold out somewhere. I'm not sure because I feel like with Chelsea, I feel like Chelsea have a certain pedigree that like they hold a certain standard for like, what their players like the quality of players should be. And even though Delap is young, he can definitely still like develop and all that. I don't know. I still feel like Chelsea will try to go like more big with like a much more like a major signing. I'm not sure who it would be just yet. I do think João Pedro would be. I think João Pedro should be like the starting 9 for Chelsea. I'm not sure how Nicholas Jackson will be. I'm not sure how like he'll be integrated back with Chelsea because he is on loan, but he does have a long contract with Chelsea. So I'm sure he's gonna be used for Chelsea in the future. So that's definitely something to consider as well. With like, is he gonna replace Delap? Left half with Delap? So yeah, and I was also wondering about your opinion on the next Chelsea fixtures because I feel like it's a mix of relatively easy fixtures, but then also tough fixtures. Like for example, next game Chelsea play Wolves, right? At home at Stamford Bridge. So and we know with Wolves they have a pretty bad form in the Prem, and they just recently sacked their manager, so I'm sure they're going through a lot of trouble. But then you see in a few weeks Chelsea play Barca, and then also Arsenal after that. So those are some tough fixtures as well for Chelsea. So yeah, what do you think about that? How do you think Chelsea will do in those games?
Yeah, no, honestly, for Wolves and Burnley, again, the mentality Chelsea have always will have against more so relegation side teams is 3-point lane. We've had it against even some big opponents such as Spurs and even previously Liverpool when we played them, but counted them down, saying it would be a very tough game, especially with the leaky backline. To which I agree. Spurs game was very interesting. How no goals were conceded there, considering how we always. I think our statistic for the top 6 sides in the Premier League, we have the most. Like we have the highest goals conceded per match ratio. So yeah, comparing Wolves, even just looking back at our Carabao match, we went 4-3. There were definitely some goals that you just look back and say, how was that even conceded? Like some simple mistakes and just overall bad positioning. Well, I do believe Chelsea will beat Wolves again. They're completely out of form. Like real manager, they're running off their assistant manager. I do believe that will be a very tough game, considering the fact that we're also, I'd say, in poor form right now because of our injuries and certain players not performing to the par that they're supposed to be. And going on to Burnley, yeah, we definitely see Burnley have recently played such more like in a low block position. Like they haven't really done much when it comes to building chances and more so creating plays. They're more so that counter attack type football. We've seen how they played against Liverpool. They held Liverpool to a very close game until that late minute winner by Salah. So yeah, Burnley, I do think Chelsea will win because it's not a direct attacking game by Burnley. Considering our center backs have been really like abysmal this season, Burnley aren't the type to take advantage of that. They would more so be in that sit back, defend, wait for a counter type game. Chelsea, they do amazing when it comes to games like these. We have an abundance of strikers. Back to what you were mentioning about Joao Pedro, him as a 9. In reserves, we have the likes of Gui and Liam Delap. So we definitely do have an abundance of firepower, even with our main playmakers, such as Palmer out. We do see some leakages here and there when it comes to losing the ball, progressing. I don't have any doubts for those 2 games. Major game that everyone is mainly interested in, the whole world, is the Chelsea versus Barcelona match. Oh, before I say anything, I want to get your guys' thoughts on that.
Honestly, I think we can cover that in another video because we've been going for a long time. But yeah, any initial thoughts before we wrap it up?
None primarily with the Barcelona game, but within the Karabakh game, and we're just tying that back. Again, it was just Chelsea not taking the chances they were supposed to, and leaky defense. Point I have to mainly point out was again, there were 0 big chances created. We didn't really have our primary playmaker starting, and that was really really horrible for us. We faced 0 shots on like hitting the woodwork. We mainly hit 8 shots off target, and only 4 shots were on target. One being directly electrical, 3 either being blocked or by the keeper, or just completely like having no real effect for it. So yeah, other than that, Chelsea need to start taking their chances more often. We need to stop getting in that like this. We need to start implementing more discipline. As even in this game, we definitely had losses and a lot of players backing up unnecessary tackle. and fouls that were very unnecessary.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with you. Overall, yeah, thank you for hopping on the podcast. We do appreciate you hopping on and giving your takes. I think we'll wrap up the Chelsea segment there. But yeah, I think you have a lot of interesting takes, so we'd love to have you back on the podcast anytime soon. But yeah, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Hope you guys have an amazing night, and thank you for bringing me on. See you
You
guys
too,
next
Yeah,
you
time.
too, man. You too, man.
see you on the other side. Okay, well, co-host, I think we can wrap it up there. I think we had a lot of good takes on a lot of the games for this Champions League game week. Any other thoughts?
And yeah, we talked for a long time, very long video today, I guess. I mean, yeah, I still thinking back with the draw that happened earlier today. It's pretty disappointing. Kind of ruined the day a bit. I just hope Barcelona recovers. I just want to see how Barcelona recover actually, like because Barcelona have already taken big losses this season, and I feel like nothing too significant has really improved. I guess really I can say like Lamine Yamal has gone better. He's definitely very good, but I still see the whole team like improve together. So yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I thought the Barca game was again disappointing for us Barca fans. I think Flick has to do better with his lineups and his overall tactics. But yeah, overall, this game week was pretty interesting for all the games and the tactical analysis between all the different fixtures. But yeah, in the comments down below, please let us know what match you were tuned into and what topics of interest you guys found from this game week, and send us your predictions for who will win the Champions League, and maybe even who could win the treble maybe this season. But yeah, overall, another thrilling UCL match day and serious group league movements. So a lot of teams are moving on their league phase table. But yeah, reminder to subscribe, follow for more, and please like the video. Let us know any recommendations you have for our next few videos. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. Bye bye.
Thank you. Good to see you guys.